What trends have you noticed amongst people that are struggling financially? Like what are they doing with their money? Why is it not going in their favor?
Everyone's good with getting a 5, 6, 7-year car loan at 25% and thinks that that doesn't mean anything. So that's crazy. I mean, what? The average new car payment, what was it? I think it's recently come out to like $800 a month.
Yeah.
It's insane. If 50% of the people in the United States, 50% who have a job make $30,000 or less on a yearly basis, $800 a month as the new average car payment, that's insanity.
Now, what's interesting is that when you look into auto loans, they're not regulated the same way that student loans are or with mortgages or even credit cards for that matter. A credit card reviews your income in such a way where they're not going to give you too much of a limit because that's an unsecured debt. They're not going to collect on that if you don't pay that debt. They're going to discharge it. But auto loans, for the most part, are very unregulated. It's a very much gray market that they could sell these off privately without there being, a rule out there that says, we can't qualify you for this. Most auto loan places are able to give you the loan that you want by just extending out the term, even if the interest rate's 20, 25%.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It's scary. I'll also say there are, on the show, I try not to talk about a lot of societal things because it's like, okay, that's another show. We can cover what should not, blah, blah, blah. And also just vote however you want to vote. That's whatever. We don't get into that. My job is to say, okay, this is where we live right now, and this is the best way to navigate it. Because it's irresponsible for me on the side of the table to say something different. One thing I will say societal that I like to rant about, and I'll rant about for a second, our car infrastructure. If it's the societal tax that we have in the United States that everyone has to have a car to survive. It's so stupid. Unless you live in New York City, San Francisco, or Chicago, where they have actually decent public transportation, you essentially have to get a job in order to work, in order to afford the car that you're getting to actually work. It sucks, man. It sucks. That infuriates me.
Well, that's why I like Dave Ramsey's approach that the car you could afford is the one that you could buy outright in cash, or the car that you could pay off relatively quickly. I think people are sleeping on these sub $10,000 cars. You go on Craigslist or Auto Trader, so many great cars out there. $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. A Toyota Corolla with 100,000 miles on it. It's good for another 100,000 miles easily. Very reliable car.
People are also just bad
car
at purchasing though, so people will get that $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 car, and they won't get it, checked out by a mechanic to make sure that it's going to be safe for them and it's going to be reliable for at least a few years to come. And then it just breaks down, and it gives, cars within that price category a really bad name, which is very fair.
I would venture to say that more people in that category just want a newer car.
Would
feel much better about, no, I want the car that's 2 years old. Even if I have to pay more, I'd be happier in that car than this old piece of junk over here. I don't want to be seen in that. I think there's also a lot of pressure to be seen in a nice looking car. And that's almost a reflection of who you are as a person.
Yeah.
If you see someone pull up in an old car, are people going to judge you for that? Are they going to think that maybe because you're driving an old car here, maybe you're not as good as what you do? If you're good at what you do, you should be driving a newer car because you could afford it. So there's all these image things that I think play into that as well.
I have to say, I am blessed to have the mindset that with the income that I currently have, that you all have blessed me with, completely thanks to you, thank you, I don't give a shit about cars. So I probably will never spend money on a car that is way too expensive. I have my 2019 Jeep Cherokee that has good sound system, and that's all I care about.
That's good.
Very lucky.
Yeah. Do you find that the people that end up over purchasing on their vehicle, they regret it, or are they still happy about it and they think that the source of all of their financial problems comes from something else?
Well, it definitely comes down to how they're prioritizing their money in general, like the big picture in terms of where their money is going. But then, yes, those little decisions that can be big decisions, like the car, is definitely a big thing. A lot of people are regretting it more than they were at the beginning of the show because car values, they were great when I was first starting used car values. And though it's still not the pre-pandemic levels, not even close, and it probably never will be, it has come down a little. And a lot of people who've come in with these expensive used cars now find that they're underwater by thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So selling it is not always an option anymore, and making up that difference with a potential personal loan or something. But it's getting harder and harder for the expensive car loans that we have on the show to come up with a good solution other than it's just time to sacrifice for years.
I mean, what do you think that someone should do if they're looking for a car, or they think their car might be too expensive for their needs?
If it's too expensive for their needs, I mean, just I think it just comes to the overall maturity around the purchase of it. But when it comes to the average person looking for a car, as long as we're budgeting out, we have an emergency. So the question is then, okay, why do they need a new car? Did their car break down? If the car broke down, they should have a 6-month emergency fund. We can at least get a temporary measure while we then build that up and then pay for another car. Now, does someone need another car because they just want another car? Okay, fine. Then we're putting in our wants category a certain percentage aside on a monthly basis that is going towards saving up a cash pile to get the car that we want. Again, I think some people can finesse low interest car loans. I do not think that is the average person. You did with your Tesla. Lovely. And I think that's good. I might, if my Jeep ever breaks down and I can get a good rate, but I think for the average person, just like cards, that a cash option's better for them.
Oh, and by the way, this clip is brought to you by our sponsor, Epidemic Sound.
Click the link down below to get 1 month for free and 2 months half off. We've been using them for years. We use them in the intro to the full podcast. They have a massive library of incredible music and sound effects. Click that link. Thank you so much, Epidemic. And thank you for watching.